from r/tales from your server, which often has stories that deal with Karens. A customer screamed at me for 20 minutes over 90 cents. Literally typing this on my lunch break because I'm so infuriated and disgusted by this lady who, for obvious reasons, I will be calling Karen. One of my jobs is at a popular hardware store that I shall not name as per the rules of this sub. However, I will mention that I am a seasonal associate and my last shift is tomorrow. And you get some ripe stars if you can guess the name of the store correctly. Anyhow, I work as a cashier there, and today I was assigned to the lumber register, a register way at the far end of the store and pretty far from everything else. I was patiently awaiting customers when Karen arrived. She and her husband were buying 9 6-foot deck boards and 3 12-foot deck boards. I scanned them in and she noticed they did not come up discounted. I flipped through the flyer to see what they are indeed supposed to be discounted for, 15% off, and it just was not coming up in the system for some reason. No biggie, this happens more frequently than it should and I will just manually override it. Except that would not work. I got a pop-up on my POS screen stating that because of the store's relationship with the vendor, they cannot sell the boards for less than full price. I sent for one of the assistant managers and she helped me work around it and override it for discount. Everything was fine. Then I went to give her the total and she suddenly stops. She says the 6-foot deck boards were coming up as $6.98 at full price rather than $6.86. I was confused because with the discount that should equal $5.93 and I was already giving that to her. She sends her husband to check and I asked if a lumber associate could verify it. There was a tag that read $6.86, however, not only was it a completely different type of board, it also explicitly states that they are $6.86 minus 10%, not 15%. $6.86 minus 10% would have rung them up at $6.17. I informed them that what I was giving them for the boards was cheaper than what was labeled on the tag. However, Karen informs me she wants $6.86 minus 15 rather than 10%. Essentially, she wanted me to combine both offers. I politely told her I cannot do that because it's a completely different item. And then the gates of hell were opened. She started screaming at me, the assistant manager and the associate with me about not getting her damn discount, even though she was already getting one. She would not back down. All three of us were trying to explain it to Karen only for her to interrupt us and continue screaming about how she's never coming here again. She would rather go to our competitor, yada yada yada. I think all of us here have heard it before. This onslaught of demonic screeching went on for close to 20 minutes. While the assistant manager tries to reason with Karen, I popped the numbers into the equation. Here's what I found out. $6.98 multiplied by 0.85 equals $5.93, which is the full price in system, minus 15%. $6.86 multiplied by 0.90 equals $6.17. which is the full price of the incorrect tag minus its listed 10%. Now I thought, let's pretend I actually gave her the combined offer and gave her $6.86 minus 15% instead of 10% like she wanted. $6.86 multiplied by 0.85 equals $5.83, literally 10 cents less than the discount she was already getting. Eventually, the assistant manager just gives up and gives her the 15% off of $6.86. Now referring back to what she was buying, she had 9 of those deck boards, and if she was saving 10 cents on each one, she was literally screaming in our faces over 90 cents. 90 cents! I was so pissed off when she left. The greed of people disgusts me. I came this close to going off and screaming back at her because, like I said, my contract is almost over and my final shift is tomorrow. Even if I did scream at her, what are they gonna do? Fire me? The worst part was, she came back and she had the balls to ask me to use my measuring tape and stapler to measure the boards and make sure they were correct and to staple on a red flag, which you have to legally put on if you are carrying wood in an open bedded truck. I am honestly proud of myself that I somehow resisted committing second-degree murder. If you ask me, that was a fantastic story, oozing with entitlement. And I'm also proud of OP for not committing murder, because I'm not sure what I would have done in that situation. Would you be able to stay as calm as OP in the story? Tell us in the comments what you have done instead. Alright guys, that's all the content I got for you today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to leave me a like and some stars in the comments. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I see you again tomorrow.